Now then, since her death 2 years ago, Dame Deborah James's work to raise awareness of the symptoms of bowel cancer has been credited with saving countless lives.
Yeah, the host of You, Me and the Big C podcast used her Bowel Babe nickname to reduce the stigma that surrounded the disease.
Now, in a moment, we will speak to someone who was diagnosed after seeing Dame Deborah's story on TV. But first, let's take a look back at just some of her work.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer at the age of 35. We're actually talking about life and death here. It's heart-wrenching at times.
Come on, Mummy, you can go faster than that.
I'm going to be very frank because I think one of the biggest problems is that people are not frank enough about the symptoms that led to their diagnosis, and then as a result it holds up their diagnosis. So I was pooing blood and eventually got diagnosed with a 6.5 centimetre tumour up my bum.
There were nights of endless pleasure. You were storming on your lost love.
I've campaigned, I've spoken about awareness, I've shared my story for a reason. I don't want any other Deborahs to have to go through this. But it makes me feel like we're all kind of in it at the end together, and we all want to make a difference and say, you know what, screw you, cancer. You know, we can do better. We can do better for people. And we just need to show who's boss.
Oh, Dame Deborah there. Well, we are joined now by Lyndsey Ainscough, who went to see her GP about symptoms after seeing Dame Deborah James on TV, and oncologist Dr. Claire Arthur from the Christie Hospital, who treated Lyndsey. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for coming in. Let's start with you, Lyndsey, and just tell us about your journey. Started off prompted by seeing Dame Deborah on television talking about her own symptoms.
It did, yeah. So I was aware of Dame Deborah's journey at that time because she was in the limelight and it was on the news. However, I didn't really follow it, in all honesty. But one morning when I was ironing in the kitchen, I did see Dame Deborah talking about signs and symptoms of bowel cancer. And it caught my attention, especially the point where she was talking about blood when she was going to the toilet. And I turned to my husband and said, do you think I've got bowel cancer? Because I had been experiencing that as a symptom, but ignored it. Ignored it all through lockdown, and for quite a while, to be honest. And he brushed it off, and like we both did, and said, you know, don't be daft, you know, you're too young to have bowel cancer. And that was that. However, I did, off the back of that, go and get checked with the GP. Had some blood tests and was sent for a colonoscopy. And they more or less confirmed there and then on the colonoscopy that it was cancer. And it was stage 3. It was stage 3, a stage 3 tumour, about 5 centimetres, Claire. Yeah. So I then had an operation to have a stoma because I was told they couldn't operate on it straight away because of the positioning of the actual tumour. So I had a stoma a couple of weeks later after the initial diagnosis, and some quite gruelling chemotherapy and radiochemotherapy and a couple of other operations. But Claire also rang me whilst I was on Blackpool Beach one day with the children, and offered me a trial. So on the biopsy, originally it showed a mismatch repair, a protein deficiency, which made me eligible for a trial of immunotherapy. So I was quite reluctant at first, not knowing what that was. However, I went away, did my own research, and I had no doubt in my mind, because I trust Claire. I trusted her instantly as soon as I met her. She's an angel, and all the staff at Christie. And I accepted it, and here we are today. I got all clear.
All clear?
All clear in January, yeah, in January 23. So they were expecting it to shrink the tumour, so they could remove it with surgery. However, it disappeared. So it was a miracle.
Such brilliant news.
Yeah.
Such brilliant news. That smile. You walked in this morning and the whole studio lit up with that smile. Claire, and I guess Lyndsey's story is proof again about how important it is to act, to get checked out if you've got any concerns.
Absolutely. So the work that Deborah James did to promote early diagnosis, to break down the embarrassment, the awkwardness about talking about bowel symptoms. Lyndsey's mentioned a clinical trial, and research is so important to what we do in terms of cancer treatment, but we also know that early detection, early diagnosis, starting treatments early, it has to run in parallel with any of the science that we're undertaking. It's so important that we diagnose early.
And you're talking about what Dame Deborah did in terms of starting the conversation. Here you are, you haven't done TV interviews before, and you're talking about private, blood in your poo and all the rest of it. And that kind of is her legacy, is it? That's what she did.
Absolutely. Her family must be so proud of the legacy that she's left. Unfortunately, different circumstances, but she did some amazing work, and what she's doing for young families, because I'm a young mum with 3 young children, and she was a young mum with young children, and it continues to affect young mums. The Princess of Wales, she's a young mum as well with children. It doesn't discriminate. It attacks people of all walks of life. That's the fact. That's what we're seeing. I can't thank her enough. I really can't thank her enough. If I hadn't have seen her on TV that day, I wouldn't have gone and got checked. I was stage 3 at that point, so I dread to think what could have been.
Well, listening to you right now is Dame Deborah's mum, Heather, who joins us live here on Breakfast. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Heather.
It's wonderful to see you, and it must be so wonderful for you to hear about Lyndsey's story, to hear about that legacy. What would you like to say to Lyndsey?
Hi, Lyndsey. It's so lovely to hear your story, and I'm so pleased you did go and get checked out. And as everybody knows, early diagnosis can save lives, and I think Deborah was really in the forefront of wanting to shout about the poo, to make people not embarrassed to go to their doctors. And I think breaking down all that stigma of bowels and poo has really helped, I hope, a lot of people. And I'm so proud of the legacy Deborah's left. And I'm so thrilled for you, Lyndsey, that it's all worked out much better than it could have done if you'd not been pushed by the thought of Deborah to go and get checked out.
Lyndsey, what would you like to say to Heather?
Wow. You must be incredibly proud. And if my children could had the confidence to say, I'm sure they would thank Deborah and yourself for letting the mum be here today to raise this awareness. Thank you. You must be incredibly proud.
But thank you, Lyndsey, for also telling your story, because that will help a lot of people as well. And that's what we need to do. We need to get, people out there aware. And I'm so pleased and grateful for your help as well. And we will keep, as a family, we're amazed at how Deborah did what she did, and we'll always be proud as well as sad. But we have to make, her proud, and we will continue to fund with research and awareness to help people like yourselves.
Heather, it's so lovely to see you. And just wondering how the family are doing now, nearly 2 years since Deborah's death.
On Friday, it will be 2 years since we lost Deborah, and it's a difficult week, I think. It's all the memories and reflections going back over how much she achieved in those last few weeks, but also how much she loved life. And I think, she left us all with grab each moment and always be kind and enjoy life. And I think that's what we can do. And from her educating people into early diagnosis, be your own advocate, I think let's help more people to have more time with their loved ones.
Oh, Heather, well said, well said. And I know this is a really tough week for you and the family, but hopefully Lyndsey's story and the story of so many other people out there is some comfort and consolation to you. And Lyndsey, why do we let Lyndsey do a Deborah and tell viewers this morning if you've got one simple message to them that you would like Deborah did to get through to people, what would you say?
So first of all, get checked. Get checked early, that is key. When we hear the words cancer, we fear the worst, but it is treatable, it's curable. And in the words of Deborah, we need to have hope, we need to have rebellious hope, and we need to find light in those dark moments, what continue to be dark moments, but we need to find the light. But please get checked early, that is key.
It's been so brilliant to have you on the sofa.
Thank you
So much, Lyndsey. Dr. Claire, thank you. And Heather, thank you so much for joining us as well. It's lovely to see you. It really is.
It's coming up to